Please excuse my appearance. My hair, I need to cut. But that's not why I came on here. For nearly the last 4 months, we've been asked to stay home because of the virus. And mostly, we have. We even gave the atmosphere a chance to start healing itself without the pollution from the cars and the manufacturers and stuff like this. Again, not why I'm on here. This probably won't go far. But I consider myself very spiritual. Not to the point where I'm willing to go to church, put out all the money that most churches ask for, just for the preacher to buy a mansion, to buy a car every year. I'm just not going to do it. I love the Lord. I try to follow the Lord. I'm not perfect by no means. I don't know how to say this without hurting people's feelings. I've done a DNA. My DNA says that I am Native American, African American, German, French, Scottish, Italian, and a bunch of other stuff that we don't even need to go into. See, all my life, I've known deep in my soul and my heart that I was black and I was Native. I didn't grasp the understanding of racism because my mom was married to somebody in the military. And pretty much we kind of lived protective lives. Then I grew up, became an adult, was married, had 2 beautiful sons. And still never really experienced racism until my ex-husband got stationed at Fort Drum, New York. My kids' elementary school, kids would walk around calling them the N-word. My ex-husband, black, African American, however you want to see it, said leave it alone. I said, are you not going to stand up for your children? And his exact word was, leave it alone, it'll go away. I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and still, it just weighed me down. I couldn't understand why. So I made an appointment to see the principal of the school. I pulled both my sons out of class, had them go into the principal's office with me. The principal said that he was sorry that he didn't know this was being taken, excuse me, not taken care of, but he didn't know what was going on. So I said, okay. And so the boys came home about a week later telling me that they're still doing it. They're still calling them the N-word. They were crying. And as a mother, that hurt me to the core. So I made another appointment to see the principal. This time I didn't take the kids out of class. I basically looked at this Caucasian man to his face, and I told him that either he takes care of the problem or I would. So we agreed that he would call in the parents of the children that was doing this.
Ask him to write me. And tell him to knock me over, okay?
I basically looked at the parents and I told them, if this happens again, that I was going to whip the children's ass, excuse my language, and then I would whip their ass. And then I commenced of looking at the principal and I said, now if you allow this to continue, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to whip your ass. And they knew I wasn't playing, because when I get really, really mad, my whole being, my whole body turns plum red. And when I start crying, somebody better watch out. Needless to say that it never took place again. Excuse me. My kids, they came home and said, Mom, I don't know what you did, but it has stopped. Now, fast forward it. Like I said, I've been doing exactly what the government says. Stay at home unless you got to go to the grocery store or have a doctor's appointment. And that's what I've been doing. I've been paying all my bills online. Only time I really go outside of my house is to take my two beautiful dogs to go to the bathroom or walk down to the mailbox. But with all the news reports of black men, I'm going to call them men because there were some children or teenagers being hung. And instead of the policemen, the police officers, should I say, they don't want to do the job. They don't want to investigate it because they're basically saying, forget the N-word or N-words. Let's just rule it a suicide. Maybe everybody will believe us. I can't get over that. This is 2020. We're in the 21st century. This should not be taking place.
I'm Sandy.
Good to meet you.
Then, just about every day when you turn the news on, which I don't watch because of this factor, but I stay online a lot. So naturally, I'm going to hear about it either way. There's police officers putting their knees and necks of my brothers. They're shooting them in their backs as they run away from them. they're scared, so it's natural for somebody to run away. Then now I'm hearing about women in the military being raped and all this other stuff. Now the military don't want to get off their lazy carcasses and investigate it and do something about the problem. Women deserve to be in the military, police force, EMS, pilots, presidents, and whatever else you can think of. So as I state, what's going on in the world is ridiculous. Caucasian people is looking at different races and telling them to go back where they came from. That this is their land. I'm not saying all Caucasian people are like this. I have Caucasian friends, and none of my friends are like this. And if they are, they're doing pretty good at hiding stuff. And I know them very well, so I know that they're not racist.
What can you sit on, sleep on, and brush your teeth with?
I cry
It's a riddle. What can you sit on, sleep on?
every time I hear about a black person being shot, strangled,
A bed,
hung, beat on, that die because they're disabled, and the doctors feel like it'd be a waste of medical
so obvious that you don't see it. It's as plain as the nose on your
to make a paraplegic man well.
Tell who what?
tell Roxanne.
We as people, and I'm saying we, I mean black, white, Oriental, Hispanic, African, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, etc., etc., etc. We're all brothers and sisters. The only difference between us is their skin color, which makes no sense to me at all. I apologize for this being as long as it is, but I just can't take the news anymore. I am a disabled person. I have a wheelchair that I ride when I gotta leave the house. I have a walker that I have to use inside of the house. On my good days, when I'm like in pain but not in pain, or as much pain, I use a cane. And that's how I get around. One of them three ways. I try to do my own shopping. I try my best to keep my house clean. There's some stuff that I can't do, like dusting, to get low on my furniture. I have to sit on the floor. And once I get down, which takes me a minute, it's hard for me to get back up. I would love to take both my dogs for a walk every day, twice a day. I can't do that. So, I know I've been rambling and I'm sorry about that. But there's just so much that I need to get off my chest. I love America. I love the beautiful stuff that God has gave us that we trash on a daily basis. I love my brothers and sisters. What people has to get to understand is everybody that lives in the entire world is of mixed race. You have black in you regardless if you want to admit it or not. That's one reason why I don't understand the racism. Racism has always been bad here in the United States. But since Donald Trump has been in office, it has gotten ridiculously, you know what I'm trying to say, worse.
Just letters. 20 or so.
Now they don't care.
Trying.
They know most of the time that they're not going to get in trouble if they shoot a black person, a Mexican person, an Indian person, a white person even. We have to stay on them to get any resolvement of issues that goes on.
Wouldn't even matter if you read it.
No.
I want you to teach me what you know.
Example,
I want to travel with you.
No, I hate tossing.
if everybody in the females company
We can just tell.
battalion would stand up, maybe they can get the colonels or the generals, should I say, to have the MPs investigate and start arresting people that are harming the women and the men on military bases. Now, let's talk about the police. It should be the captains, the major, chief of police responsibility
So?
to get the FBI
Yeah.
to investigate
Can you tell her?
cops'
Chris, you have to.
illegal stuff that they be doing. We know that
Look, you got any paper?
they steal money from drug raids. They steal drugs from drug raids.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I have some paper.
We know that they shoot people in the back, plant guns and saying, well, I had to fire because they had a gun. Now they're getting so bold, about 90% of the time, to do it with the chest, with the camera they have on their chest. They're saying, let's kill all the N-words, and their bosses are hearing this and telling them to keep it on the low, that they don't need to be saying that stuff, especially over the radio.
What is it?
Read this.
So,
Roxanne?
to sum it up, because I've been on here for a minute, and I know a lot of people's not going to sit here for a full 20 minutes.
But I probably did. It was really great
World.
telling you, and now I'm going to be a dealer.
Let's do better.
Yours, truly.
Let's get
LLE.
the racism in the police departments taken care of.
When I found this
If you're racist, fire them. Don't let them get hired anyplace else. If you're a rapist, Fire them. Put them in jail.
Read it out loud.
If you think you can get away with shooting people in their backs, strangling them with your hands, putting knees in in their throats, and they thinking they can get away with that,
Do it now.
let's put them in jail.
I see you on the street, and I feel. I remember
Military.
everything about you.
If a female or a male comes to the company commander and says, hey,
July 11th,
this is going on,
2:30 in the afternoon.
company commander needs to report it higher up,
Not that much.
start an investigation with the military police,
And, it was as though
find out who did what,
I could close my
put them
eyes
in jail.
and see it again and again.
Basically what I'm sitting here saying,
Walk, your dress, everywhere I looked.
get God in your life, stop racism,
Nice, isn't it?
It has.
let people live.
Finish it.
The world would be a much happier place.
You have to turn it over.
It really would.
CD wrote this, call me Dixie.
So, world, from this human being that has multiple races
Was your voice that
in her blood,
Chris didn't write those letters, you did.
let's get it together. Let's come together. Let's love together.
All this time, right there in front of me. And I couldn't even see it.
Meaning, don't hate nobody. Love everybody. Help. If you see a homeless people sitting on the corner of the street and you got $5 or $10 or $20 or whatever in your pocket, share it. 9 times out of 10, it's not their fault. They living in the streets. Now, there is that little 1% who would rather be in the streets and save up money
Only because you seduced me, I would have never gone to
You
bed.
still went to bed with them awfully fast. A few frilly words and you're counting.
and be there. That's their choice.
That I went to bed with him.
But about 99% of the people in the streets don't want to be in the streets. And they can't get help because they don't have an address. They don't have the money to get a post office box. They have friends, but the friends are not willing to let them use their address as their address so that they can get a job, save up money, get a place of their own. There is nothing wrong with having 2 or 3 homeless families live in the same house until everybody can get on their feet and they can leave. And then keep that up so that they don't have to live in the streets no more. Help the people who has mental issues. Get them off the streets. Get them on the medication they need.
Well, what the hell was that?
Put 2 or 3 of them up in a house. And let them split the cost of everything. And if they're not able to work, get them on disability so they can get money coming in so they don't have to live in the streets. See, the problem with the world today, people can go out here and become a millionaire, and instead of helping people, they want to keep it to themselves. They get to the point where they forget where they come from, and they just don't want to help nobody. Look at Bill Gates. He's a billionaire. He does a lot of stuff for charity. Now, don't get me wrong. But the man can buy land, have tiny houses put on the land so homeless people can get off the streets, so they won't die in the wintertime of freezing to death,
There's a fire somewhere.
or the summer having heat strokes.
Get in the gear.
I mean, you guys know where I'm going with this. I don't need to continue ranting and raving about this. I want the world to come together. To my brothers and sisters in the UK, in Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, Canada, Mexico, Russia, and I'm sure there's many other places that I'm not mentioning. Let's pull forces together. Let us become one, like God intended us to be. No more abusing animals. No more abusing women. No more abusing men. Especially no more abusing children. Let's get education where it needs to be. Let us get our lives the way God wants us to be. I love talking about the Lord. He is my everything. I thank Him daily, or almost daily, of the roof that I have over my head, of the friends that I have in my life. You know what they say, friends become family? Well, that's the only family that I have right now. My brothers and sisters, with the exception of one, don't have anything to do with me. And that one, it'd take a blue moon for him to contact me to see how I'm doing. So I stopped communicating altogether. I figured, why should I be the one that has to initiate everything? I don't know where this is going to go, but I hope people listen to it, get a grasp at what I'm trying to say. Before I end this, I'm going to say, Black Lives Matter. Indigent people's lives matters. Or, to be more simple about that, Native Americans' lives matter. And then I will say all lives matter. I love each and every one of you. I pray to God that we wake up before it's too late. I have never read the Bible from front cover to back cover. I know I should. But as long as I pray to God, or should I say, I have a discussion with God, just about every day.
Doesn't quite work, does it?
I hope my message gets through. I know He's listening to me.
Wasn't the way he looked. Well, that's not true. At first it was the way.
Every time that I beg or I cry and I ask God to help me, He hasn't let me down yet.
Feminine. But it
I have 2 dogs that's terrified to death of firecrackers. Or should I say fireworks. I have literally spent pretty much about 6 hours of holding 2 dogs in my arms tonight. Because they were shivering. They were so scared. It's not funny. I had to go to the bathroom. And I still sat here and waited until they stopped the fireworks. I went outside for 10 minutes to make sure there was no fireworks tripping off so they could go use the bathroom. Now I'm just rambling. But from me to you, put God in your life. Pray to God that you lose the racism, the hatred of other people. It's just not worth it. You can't wait till you're on your deathbed to ask for forgiveness. Well, you can, but it's best to start off early. That way, hopefully, God will forgive you at the pearly gates. And you can join your family. But I'm going to end this because I know I've been rambling. I'm sorry about that. But this was just some stuff that I needed to get off my chest. Let us, as human beings, come together as one. And love each other. Love all the animals, the trees, the grass, the ground, the air, down to the smallest organism there is. Let us all just love hard. Together, united as one. Now, I'm going to say Black Lives Matter, Native American lives matter, all lives matter. Now let's get together, get Trump out of office,